People plant roots here because there aren't any constraints. There aren't any electric or power lines. There are no mobile phones. They don't work here. We're still living in the last century.
We raise these bulls in the Camargue. I don't think a lot of people can say that when they wake up in the morning and go to work, they're going to do something they're passionate about. But we herdsmen, the first thing we do is get on a horse and ride and round up the bulls.
It's true that when we talk about Camargue, we think right away about the bulls, their herders, and their costumes. And if he doesn't have any boots, he's no herdsman.
Shaped by the winds, the River Rhone and the Mediterranean, the Camargue forms an infinite territory of lagoons and ponds, and on this march, the earliest known remains date back to the 6th century BC with the Greek invasions.
The Phocians arrived 2,600 years ago. Civilization came by way of the river's mouth. The Phocians made a floating port, and from there they went on to civilize Europe and other parts of the world.
Until the turn of the 20th century, these marshes were home to a seafaring people, living in small cabins.
The first homes were little wooden houses. Later, there were cabins on the water, houseboats if you like. They lived on the water, one next to the other. So the first Camargue houses, they were people who lived on these wooden boats.
At the time, the exceptional biosphere of the marshes helped the community to move into the Grand Camargue.
People settled here because there was an extraordinary wealth to be found in the marshes. There was this alluvial resource where there was no fertilizer at the time, so people planted. They planted anything, and it grew. It was so full of game here that people did not need to work, really. Even at the beginning of the century, people didn't work. How'd you expect them to work in a region like this? It's not possible. They had only to stoop to harvest. They were gatherers, and we've remained gatherers ever since.
The other emblematic figure of the Camargue is the bull. Black with horns in the shape of the lyre, it's said that the Camargue bull is the descendant of wild oxes.
I've been led to believe that long ago the bulls were in the center of France, and then, with the growing population, they were pushed down the Rhone, and they found themselves stuck in the Camargue.
Trained for bullfighting, the Camargue bull is never killed, but pursued by bullfighters who seize the insignia pinned to his horns.
In the Camargue, we don't talk about a bull ranch as much as a herd. And of course, if these bulls turn out to fly the flag and put on a good show, they'll be able to fill the arena and make a career out of it until the age of 12 or 13 years old. You should know that Camargue bulls can attract an audience and fill the arenas.
And these are the horses, indispensable to the herdsmen themselves.
The Camargue horse is the companion of the herdsman. Without these horses, we couldn't work these wetlands. These prairies are so large. Because where the bulls manage to go, you can't go, sometimes even on horseback. We're forced to find a way around, but with these horses that are born here, it makes our work easier.
Raised in the open, sometimes herded and brought to the bull ring, the bull is the king of the Camargue. It encapsulates the people's passion and a long tradition.
If the bulls of the Camargue could talk, I'm sure they would say that they would prefer to be born in the Camargue than in a breeding area. At least if they defend themselves in the bull ring, well, they'll have a veritable career.
Regional bullfighting is also bound up with the manufacture of Camargue boots.
You can tell the Camargue boot from its overall look. That's to say, a straight cut, a round toe, a flat heel with straight vertical lines in the middle of the boot. It's a classic look you don't find elsewhere.
Made with quality leather, above all, this work boot must guarantee comfort.
So this boot, it's primarily useful for the rider. The leather is thick. It's a kind of leather from the region that is solid and good for working with bulls in the bush.
The Botte Gardien is a workshop and a kind of enterprise of living heritage, continuing the tradition of manually handcrafted products.
We use a kind of mounting which is glued, sewn, and nailed. It helps to have boots that look similar, but which are tough and last a long time. It's a functional and crucial product for the herdsmen.
The Camargue is a place where these strong links are forged, uniting men with their environment and their traditions.
We have an interesting local heritage here. We're proud to be grounded in this way. The wild landscape behind us, horses, bulls, and the Camargue boots.
Our heritage is Camargue. We're very attached to it. I think in all regions we have our traditions, and these traditions have to be maintained.
Camargue is diverse because it's easy to plant roots here.